Welcome to the Acceptable Accuracy Podcast. I am your co-host, Philip, and today I am joined by Tyler. Tyler, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. I feel like it's been a while since we've actually recorded an episode together because I feel like it has been absolute chaos for both of our schedules. So it's kind of nice being able to connect again for the first time, I feel like, in like 2 months.
That is true. We've had at least 2 episodes where we have not been on the same podcast together because we did the one 2 episodes ago for the Badger Trekker. That
Hmm.
was with myself, Kyle, and Brent. And then you did your most recent one regarding the firearms and safety
With
training
kids.
for the kiddos.
Yeah, for the class, which was, I believe, statistically our lowest listened episode to date. I'm totally kidding. I have no idea. I haven't even looked.
Well, I was like, I'm impressed that you knew that because yes, it was pretty low.
Was it really? That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, honestly, and I think that's it's one of those things where it's it's kind of niche a little bit, right? Like in
It is
podcasts is already niche a
very
little bit as it
niche.
is because we're
Yes.
firearms, related. But today we have a topic that's a little bit more mainstream. We are going to be talking about fitness and firearms and why those two go together like chocolate and marshmallow
Funny enough,
smushed
I
by
just
a
did
graham
s'mores
cracker.
last week, so it was great.
Yep, I know it's like a delicious s'more. I
What's
don't know what
even better
the third
s'more?
part is.
Using Reese's
Competition.
instead of Hershey's.
Reese's what? Like Reese's cup?
Yeah, just Reese's. It's awesome, dude. It's like a
Really?
chocolatey, peanut buttery s'more. It's amazing.
I mean, maybe. My only concern with that is, Tyler, is that if you have a schmore, which yes, it is SCH, schmore, not s'more. That's how I say it. So judge
So
me if you
fun.
will. If you have a schmore, it's already pretty thick because you've got like the graham crackers with the chocolate and then the marshmallow. Depending on the size and brand of marshmallow that you use, jet puffed is a requirement from a marshmallow perspective. None of this like knockoff marshmallows from Aldi. Yuck. But
I will
I've
admit,
heard
I
of
did.
people. Go
Hmm.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say I used this time. I will agree, like a thick one does make it a little much, but I actually used like one of the thin Reese's cups, and that actually worked out really well.
Oh, I didn't know they made those. I'm not.
Mhm.
I like Reese's Pieces. Like ET, him and I, we like our Reese's Pieces together. But I'm not a
Nice.
huge Reese's cup person.
That's fair.
My wife loves the Reese's. I think it's the Christmas trees, like
Oh
the,
yeah,
which is weird because I assume it's the same, like chocolate and the same peanut butter.
it
But
is, but it's a texture thing because I think
yeah,
for with the Christmas trees is if I remember right, I feel like it's a little. I don't know. I get it. I do get that. I feel like it's a texture thing. But funny enough, I love how we're talking about s'mores and chocolate and all that on a
on
fitness
fitness, yeah,
episode.
it's funny as soon as we were talking about it and we started going in down to that rabbit hole. I was actually gonna say the exact same thing. So
That's so funny.
yeah,
Hey, if it fits your macros, man. For those who listening who knows what that even means, good on you. It's like the old 2010 thing about when it comes to calorie tracking. It's great, early mid 2010s. But
I assumed you meant macro, like what you used to use back in the day for World of Warcraft. But okay,
that's funny. So
you're
I
like
guess
it's a
what's
macro.
so important when it comes to fitness and firearms? Why would this even be so? Why would someone even care about this, Phil?
Well, there's a few things. So, number one, as Americans, we don't necessarily do a great job of taking care of ourselves, and that is, you can blame it on a thousand different things. In the end, we only have ourselves to blame. However, there are some environmental things that don't help, and if we don't focus on fitness, again, a lot of us are white collar workers, sit at desks all day long, which is like the worst thing you can do to yourself. Um, you will die early. That is just a fact, right? If you don't take care of yourself. Now, genetics have a ton to do with it, but genetics also have a lot to do in the other direction as well. So for me, and we'll kind of get into our fitness journeys a little bit here, but my family has a history of having heart attacks, heart disease, I think is what they call it. So I'm trying to fight against that.
Hmm.
But what is your take, Tyler,
A take on what?
on why fitness is important?
Well, I think in general it's just a big part of your life. I even think of whenever someone comes to me and I think of like they'll talk about their mood or they'll talk about their performance. even their health a lot before. Of course, other than extreme examples where it's pretty obvious you're sick, I always ask someone like, "Hey, are you doing these 5 or 6 things? One, are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating healthy? Are you getting enough vitamin D by going out in the sun? Are you exercising?" Like those are kind of, I guess it's like a litmus test for me. I'm like, I want, before anything else, before taking any type of even medication, like let's see, are you even doing all of that first and foremost? Because those are things that you can control overall. So even so, fitness and being exercising, moving around makes a huge difference. So fun. I guess I'll kind of talk about it right now. I'm gonna kind of geek out or nerd out a little bit of how I've had people tell me before, of course, in my 20s. I mean, I'm still in my 20s. I'm in my late 20s now. In my early 20s, where it's like, oh, like your metabolism's gonna slow down when you get to my age. I'm like, dude, you're like 35. So, fun fact, studies are coming out, Phil. Did you
Yeah.
know that your metabolism doesn't really slow down until you're in your 60s?
Really?
Yeah, your metabolism at 40 is very similar to someone's metabolism at 20.
I feel like that's a lie.
That's
'Cause
that's what studies are showing right now.
maybe
It's
I know.
it's not like, I mean, it might be a little lower,
Yeah.
but it's not like the major dip out that a lot of people like to look for, that people like to think it is. It
Yeah.
really dips at like 60, but in your 20s, like it's actually pretty darn similar. It's just a big part of it is because a lot of times those in their 20s, like late teens and early 20s, they're just doing a lot more. Like they're just moving around a lot more.
That's
Typically.
fair. Yeah. And we always talk about like the dad bod, right? Because
Mhm.
once you have kids, there is
Oh my goodness,
you,
yeah.
you have to make an effort to take a time for that. But in
Because you're taking care
general,
of someone else's life now. You're
right,
responsible for it.
there's less time to focus on your life, and you're trying to focus on other lives.
As an example, I was babysitting a close family friend of mine a week or two ago. And I was at a point where I was like exercising 3, 4 times a week. Actually, I was getting put almost 5 times a week now, but that week they had they had two younger age kids and then two teen aged kids. And the younger age kids, I had to wake up super early, take them to school, and then I just went straight to work and then got back, make sure the kids are alive, and then of course the teens wanted to be up late at night to talk or whatever. So I mean, I was exhausted, man. So I had to be extremely into. I didn't work out that week, but if I wanted to, I had to be very intentional about it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's something that you have to make like an intentional effort to do. I think in general, there's a lot of distractions in our lives that take away from time that we should be spending on fitness. I for me, for one, I had to create like a habit of like running was my big like
Hmm.
target. And there's a reason behind that, and we'll kind of get into that in a little bit here. But creating that habit is really difficult. And I actually started running in the morning. I am fairly lucky that I work from home. I travel around to different locations for my job, but my desk is at home.
Yeah.
So I am able to get up a little bit later than some people who have to drive into work every day. So I definitely use that to my advantage, and I make it a point to go running as a result in the morning before work, as example. And I use that actually as a stress relief as well. But yeah, I think it's a habit thing you have to get into, and I think a lot of people get out of it after they have kids or they get married. That's actually another big thing too, is they spend a lot of time in their late teens and early 20s, and sometimes now even in the 30s, working out and trying to keep themselves looking good so that they can attract a mate. It's just what we do naturally, right?
Hmm.
And then after that, you kind of settle into your relationship, and you don't really feel like you have the need to necessarily maintain yourself anymore, from like a
Ethics.
physical
Yep.
perspective.
One
Yep.
hundred percent.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've been looking it up as we're chatting, but one thing that I'm looking up right now. So a recent study, this was in 2021, analyzing over 6,000 people between the ages of 8 and 95, found that Metabolic rate stays remarkably stable from ages 20 to 60, adjusted for body size and muscle mass. The biggest changes happens at 2 points, from infancy and then after age 60. So it's not age itself that slows down metabolism, it's usually a loss of muscle mass, less activity, and poor diet that makes it feel like it's slower.
Interesting. I could see
Hmm.
that. That's actually, if assuming this is accurate, which again sounds like it is. I'm not trying to poo-poo your research or anything,
No,
but
for sure. No, no, no.
um, that actually would be in theory encouraging to individuals, because now I will say it is difficult when you're older to put on muscle, right? Obviously,
Hmm.
like your body doesn't produce cells like it used to when it was younger, so there's a challenge there,
Correct.
but it's still doable. And I think once you kind of get there, then in theory, you can maintain it a lot easier.
Yes. Well, I mean, I
Tyler, real
even think
quick,
of. Sorry,
sorry,
go for it.
finish your thought because I was actually
No,
move on.
I was just, yeah, I guess on this topic because I even think like you mentioned recovery because that's why with age it does make it harder to recover. That's even why I think of. I'm going to be a little morbid right now, but I spoke with a nurse, someone in the medical profession recently of how like honestly, someone who needs CPR when they're in their like 60s, 70s, 80s, a lot of times is a lost cause because they just
Mhm.
can't recover from the broken ribs.
Wow,
Hmm. So I mean, they'll still
crazy.
do it because they want to save them. They'll do everything they can to save, but a lot of times they just can't. So it goes to show, like, but at the same time, that is someone past that 60 age. But either way, that was kind of my addition. So what you got?
So Tyler, and I want to, obviously, firearms podcast, so I want to kind of get into the firearms.
That's
we,
fair.
we are sometimes guilty of tending to getting hung up on like the beginning of a topic instead of diving right into it.
Hmm.
So before we do kind of go into fitness and firearms, what is your take on your personal take on fitness, in like a few like 30 seconds or something like that? Like what have you been doing throughout your life, and what is your
For
path
sure.
to disc goals?
So when it comes to fitness, something that I really got into fitness in the mid 2000s when I got into a weight training class in high school, and I really got into like that what fitness YouTubers would call like the second wave of fitness YouTubers of like the Christian Guzman, the Max Tuning, those guys of the Rob Lipset, and I really got kind of big into quick somewhat into bodybuilding, but I really got into powerlifting style of lifts, so I got really big into that. So I've for years, even now, I've been training more the high explosives, high intensity, just lower reps, but which is great for spurts of energy, explosiveness. But when it comes to endurance, my endurance sucks. So I mean, for me, like I've hit 515 for deadlift, 475 for squat, and 355 for bench. Can I do that now? No. But for me, like that was the style of training that I did, and I had a lot of carryover to even now USPSA and other competition style. Where Phil and I even beforehand kind of spoke about this. So really, that's kind of my background. So I did a lot of like the calorie tracking. I got to a point where I was like weighing my peanut butter and my chicken. I don't really do that anymore, but I try to really just have a balance of being healthy and longevity so I can shoot longer and be healthier because I know one guy, he's 70 years old in better shape than most 30-year-olds. And that's kind of what I'm striving for.
That's awesome. And Tyler, you kind of alluded to it, but based on those numbers, and I'll toot your horn a little bit here, but you're a member of the thousand pound club.
Oh yeah.
That's the, what is it? That again, that's a deadlift, the bench press, and
And the
the
squat.
squat. Yep. So that's a big deal. That is a lot. And it sounds like with all those numbers, you're actually pretty well into that.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if you could do. Was there a point ever where you could do all three of those at your max, or would you kind of like focus on one and then move to the other for a while, or?
Say that one. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Yeah, like based on those numbers, it sounds like you're well into the 1,000 pound club. Were you able to do all three of those at a max at one time in your life, like at
No.
the same time?
No. Like you mean like same day, same training session?
No, like let's say you were like, hey, I'm gonna deadlift, and do my max today, the most I've ever done, and then like the next day you're gonna do the most bench press, and then the next day you're gonna most squat. Like, could you do that?
Gotcha.
Like, yeah,
Those numbers probably not, just because that is so taxing on your central nervous system.
sure.
those numbers, the deadlift and the bench were, I believe, in the same week, if not the same month. The squat, that was probably like something I did prior. So if I were to kind of talk about that peak weight of that week or even that month, I remember even with that bench, I remember going in that day like just feeling really, you were there, like that was back when we were still training together.
Hmm.
But I was going kind of, I was going, I knew I was doing a heavy day, but I just felt so good. I'm like, I'm just gonna go for a max today. So I did. I hit 355, and I remember getting a 505 or 515. I can't remember. I think it was 515. No, it was 510. I went for 515, but it slipped on my hands and ripped it up, so I couldn't do it anymore
Mm.
after that. But either way, it doesn't really matter. But that was about the same week or two. And then if I were to guess, I mean, I knew around that time I probably had a 405 to 425 squat, give or take.
Those are some pretty impressive numbers, and something that takes a lifetime of work to kind of get to, or at least significant amount of years to get to, right?
Mhm.
And like you said, if you said you probably couldn't get there today, which I think is fine because it does take a lot of time and like
It
focus, right?
does.
With anything that you're trying to absolutely max out, right?
Exactly. And truthfully, I've probably because now that I've gotten to that point, I don't really care about hitting anymore because once
Right.
again, I'm at a point in my life where I want to emphasize, of course, longevity. I want to make sure, like, I mean, as I joke about it with you and other people, how my knees hurt, my right knee, I feel like is like always at like a chronic 4 pain,
Mm,
so and so now I'm at a point where I'm focusing more on mobility and stretching. I know that's something I've heard guys that I highly respect online, like Steve Cook, who he talks about that, how he wants to train more like an athlete because that was his context before he was a bodybuilder. He was an athlete, he was a football player. And he was so even now he's like, I want to be explosive, I want to be athletic, I want to be able to have good endurance but still be strong and still have a six pack. I don't have a six pack. I've never had one. I would like to get one eventually, or at least get close to it. But it's also one of those things where I think of, and when it comes to metabolism, it does talk about how, like, of course, the lower body fat in that range, I believe it's like the 12. I think it's like 12 to 17% body fat. Whereas like the visible six pack abs, like it's just you're burning more calories at rest when you're around that percentage of body fat.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I know with working out, that helps it too, where you're burning more calories at rest. So, I don't know what it is. There's probably a science behind it. Maybe it's your, because I know like when you're doing a lot of like heavy lifts, especially for like leg workouts, like squats and deadlifts, your testosterone tends to be a little higher as well. So, that could possibly play a part in it. I don't know. I haven't really jumped into the research very much. And I was actually about to geek out into creatine right now, but I'm not going to do that because that's not the time and place right now. But there's just so many different things that I'm kind of looking more into. I guess real quick, I will go into creatine, how like studies are showing creatine's helping with like your brain function now and helping, and they're doing studies of how it can help prevent Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
So I'm like, holy cow. So just stuff like that. That's another reason why fitness was definitely one of my passions long before shooting. And I'm really glad that I'm still able to kind of marry the two.
No, and I give you a credit for that. And I think that, and we'll get into this a little bit when we start discussing how fitness can help with shooting. I think that's really helped you be successful, especially in a sport like USPSA.
Oh yeah.
Um, for myself, I fitness has always been one of those things where it's been a challenge to like, can create those habits. And while I've never been like super awfully out of shape. I've never really been in great shape either. And doing the Wolverine 5K in years past would encourage me to go out and ruck a lot around the neighborhood, but never really translated into to running or any other like cardiovascular fitness. Tyler and I did live together for a while before he moved to his current place because we were close enough together and we had a gym that we went to and I was in okay shape then. I just had a really hard time putting on muscle. So I
Mhm.
like to say that I have the spiritual gift of suffering. I can suffer for long periods
It's
of.
because you're Dutch, bro.
It's because I'm Dutch and we're just really good at suffering. Anyway, I can suffer for a long period of time and kind of like when it comes to like rucking, walking, carrying like weight on my back or whatever, that's never been an issue. But I also grew up with a family that was really spent a lot of time outdoors and hiking.
Mm,
So there's
mhm.
just like you build that over time and you kind of get used to it, right? And a lot of movement that is revolved around that. Um, so this year, realizing that again, going back to the whole like risk of heart disease, in my family, I was like, I got to start doing something to get heart healthy.
Yeah.
And knowing that, like, really focusing on that, there's only a few ways you can really do that, and it's gonna have to be something cardiovascular related. Running, I'm quite tall. If you ever meet me, I'm not a short statured individual.
I'm a
So
short
running,
king. It's great.
yeah,
I'm
tall,
5'8".
tall king. I'm almost a foot taller than Tyler. Anyway,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, I
I was
know.
like, and I really wanted to do run and gun matches, which we covered on a couple episodes again with the Badger Trekker, and I wanted to put down a good time for that. I wanted to like walk. I didn't want to walk the thing. I wanted to run it as much as possible,
That's
and I
awesome.
wanted I wanted to do a really good time on it. So knowing that for me, I have to have goals that I need to shoot for in order to like have like a reason to go out and do like to go run and like to have fitness be part of my life. So last March I started running. Did like a couch to 5K thing, knowing that the run I was going to be doing was a 5K. So that was kind of my mental focus and goal there. And took it really slow, getting a little older, and like Tyler was talking about earlier, focusing on like making sure I'm listening to my body, not creating issues with knees, backs, whatever it was, and really listening, and then ratcheting up or moving, pushing back on intensity based on feedback from my body.
Mhm.
So that was something I was never really great at before, but I think with age comes some wisdom. So I was really careful with that. The other big thing I'll add with that, it was look, working equipment is super important. And when you're running, there's not a lot of equipment other than like the clothes that you're wearing. So I ran a lot during the summer, super hot, so we're really lightweight stuff. That was a huge improvement. Just like next level, like just being comfortable while you're running is a major difference. But the biggest thing that you can do is finding the proper shoes for you and getting the correct amount of cushion. So
Mhm.
we're very lucky that we're in an age where there are a million different shoe options for all sorts of different individuals. And my wife actually ordered me 15 different shoes
Oh, wow.
through Amazon, of which I tried on.
I was gonna say,
And
yeah, the Amazon tryout or whatever it's called.
yeah, yep, we just bought a bunch and I sent a
That's
bunch back
awesome.
that I didn't use.
Yeah.
And
No, I
I
get
just
it.
walked around the house in them, and like did some quick runs around the house or whatever.
Yep.
But anyway, settled on a set of ultras. Shout out to the South Kent Ultra Gang, because I swear
Ultras,
that's like
please
the
sponsor us.
yeah, I'd be okay with
Amazon,
that.
I'm good.
Yeah, you don't need to sponsor us. Uh, so anyway, I found those shoes, and I have no knee problems right now, which
That's
is
awesome.
wild to say considering my height. Um, Most people that I talk to about running at my height are like, you shouldn't be doing it, and I just don't have knee problems. Now, I'm not saying I will maybe down the road have them,
Mhm.
but anyway, all that to say, did the couch to 5K thing, was running 5Ks on a semi-regular basis. It like 3 days a week prior to the run. And now that it's done, we did a little bit of traveling and stuff. But I actually ran while I was traveling. That was kind of cool. Got sick, so that was the other thing too. Is I like if I get sick, I don't try to push it. I don't try to make myself feel awful, because it's that
No, yeah.
mental game of like, if
It's
I feel
not
awful
worth it.
doing this when I'm sick, then I'm not going to want to do it again later. So
Exactly.
like this week, getting back off of being sick and kind of getting back into it. Anyway, all that to say, 5Ks, no problem now. And I'm actually going to start trying to stretch that out a little bit here, starting hopefully next week, and try to getting past that like 3 5Ks a week and trying to get into a 10K territory here
Mhm.
before the snow starts to
How
fall.
long have you been running now?
Yeah, since March, and about 3 days a week I've been running.
That's awesome. What so, of course, since you've been running, have you noticed I mean, actually, that means you started running around the beginning of the USPSA season then.
Yeah.
So, have you noticed a difference in your competition shooting because of your running?
Um, Maybe a little bit.
Oh,
With
okay.
any kind of match that requires like long distance. I should say long distance because most matches aren't very long, running. But there's obviously the Badger, that was a huge deal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And then so I think I was the 5K. I think I was sixth of 75 overall for my overall run time.
That's amazing.
And then and there were some young guys that were ran that thing.
Yeah.
And then we did like some multi gun earlier this year that we had some movement between stages. That was a little bit longer than USPSA. But in general, I didn't really have too much of an issue with USPSA like making it from the beginning of the day to the end of the day.
That's
I
fair.
will say, however, the focus on heart health has actually helped with when it's really intense during the summer. We had a few days where it was like 90 plus degrees.
Hmm.
And I did like a USPSA one day and a multi gun the next day. And I came out of that and I actually felt fine.
That's amazing.
I would not have done that 2 years ago and then felt fine.
Yes.
A lot of that is just proper hydration as well too. But there were
Hmm.
people that were dropping left and right. Um,
No,
and
I
that over that,
remember
yeah,
there was I think it was 2 months ago, it was two matches ago, where it was one of those days where a part of me was like, I'm just gonna bring a bunch of liquid IV. And I remember that day, I think I gave like, I mean, myself, I probably downed 4 liquid IVs myself, and I probably gave away like 10 packs
yeah,
because
no,
it was
no joke.
so hot. It was exhausting. We had a ton of people as well. So I think we had like 8 or 9 stages. So we're all tired. I mean, we didn't want, because we've had people in the past have heat strokes, heat exhaustion, and we just were like, man. And also, fun fact, like soon after that, I actually looked into making my own electrolyte mix, which I actually found online by Element. Element, I'm good if you guys sponsor us too. And I bought all the stuff, and dude, it has been great. Just I've noticed it's helped my health, and even I think it's been helping my sleep too. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's actually something I need to get back into too. Is making sure to keep hydrated even during the week, even days
Hmm.
I'm not running. Super important, and I like the fact that you're continuing to like consume electrolytes. It's super important because they always say drink water, but that's only helpful for you if you're going to have a way to retain
Yep.
it, and it's not just going right through you.
So, fun fact, another fun fact. I'm about to nerd out again. Did you know that that coffee does not dehydrate you?
I always heard that it had.
So the reason why people say so, yeah, so if you look at, there's a study that shows coffee and water and how well it hydrates you. I can't remember what the number, but let's just say like water's like a 8 out of 10, caffeine was like a 7.8 out of 10,
Hmm.
or coffee. The reason why coffee, quote unquote, dehydrates you is because I think there's like some kind of chemical in it where it causes you to pee more. So you're losing all the electrolytes, you're peeing more. So it feels like you're being dehydrated more. So the actual sake of being hydrated, coffee is just as good, if not almost as good as water, but you're peeing it out. So that's why it's kind of useless. So that's why electrolytes are so important. So even for me, like I drink an electrolyte mix at least once a day, if not twice a day.
No, that's awesome. That's great advice too, and just general match advice as well. Is you should be hydrating if it's gonna be hot out, or really realistically for any match. You should be hydrating the day before, at the very minimum, and then making sure that you're hydrating the entire day as well. I rotate between just pure water, electrolyte water, and Gatorade. I find that that combination of those three
That's awesome.
things tends to really keep me functional and moving really well. I have noticed that at matches where, like you and I are both really well hydrated, we tend to this is not a knock against anybody because everybody's different, but we tend to outlast people for stage resetting, like pick up at the end of the match, that kind of stuff, where people kind
Oh
of tend to
yeah.
peter out a little bit. And we actually have asked people in the past, say, hey, don't worry about stage reset, I'm more worried about you passing out due to heat
Dude, I
exhaustion,
know.
right?
There's probably 3 or 4 guys just kind of throughout that. I remember that one specific day. We're like, go sit down or go inside that air conditioned truck over there of one of the workers, please, because we do not want you to pass out. We got it.
Yep.
So, because we're a brotherhood, So I guess
Yeah.
going back to that, because I think to kind of be on top, because for you, because I know, I guess you've, like you said, you suffer well, you have really good endurance. I don't, because of the
Yeah.
way that I've trained my whole life. So for me, like in a typical USPSA day, well, of course, when it's cold, I'm okay, but when it's hot, dude, usually after like stage 5 or 6 of 9, 8 or 9, I'm smoked. And if I'm not careful, like you can, if I can see the trend, which is why I've learned to try to pace myself a little better. And I noticed that that's helped me. But even then, like that's where I'd like to get back. I've ran here and there, but I'd like to at least start doing some type of cardio more often. So this way I can have better endurance and have a better cardiovascular health.
That's legit. I will say, I think because of your changes to your electrolytes, the last match that we shot together was a hot one, and I don't think you died off at the end at all for
No,
that one.
I did just fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that time I did.
Yep.
Probably because I was also hydrating well. Because that
Right.
was because I've. It's so funny. Like it just. I remember this was maybe the beginning, towards the beginning of USPSA. It didn't click in my brain that I can bring food. So I started packing my own sandwiches, my own food, like drinks, and I've noticed that that helped me a lot. And I think that's another reason why in the past I would die off sooner because I just wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking enough. I was just snacking all day. I was like, Tyler, make a few sandwiches and you'll be
Yep.
good. And I did.
That's fair. And that, for someone like yourself who does have a lot of muscle that has to be constantly maintained, if you're not properly maintaining it during a match like that, like you're gonna probably dip off before even somebody who is not in shape, who's
Hmm.
just like a regular Joe, just because they don't have as much muscle to maintain.
Yeah. So
Um,
actually, now that I think about it, so this was very interesting. I was watching a video by Dr. Mike Israetel of the, I forgot what his, I think his YouTube channel is called Renaissance Periodization, and he was doing a workout with what's Travis Kelsey's brother's name again?
which is the one that's dating?
That's
What's
Travis.
her face? Oh, I don't
Taylor
know.
Swift. But I'm thinking, so Travis Kelsey's brother, I forgot his name. So he, of course, is a professional football player. So it was very fascinating because, like, this is something that I struggle with too, that I've seen where he was lifting and then he hit his max weight, like his max reps, and it just died off and he could not get it off his chest. And I know you've experienced that with me before where I was lifting and I was just stuck and I could not get that bench up again, that barbell up again. A part of it is because I have trained my fast twitch muscles so much to the point where it there's this studies researchers have shown that it just absolutely dies off and like now you're essentially your muscles just give up. So I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but that's also why it's so easy for me to just die off early because of the way that I've trained. And that's why I need to, if I want to do better, work on my endurance, is work on those slow twitch muscles more, actually focusing more on endurance. So this way I don't just die off just like that.
However, Tyler, those fast twitch muscles have helped you.
They have,
I know
yes.
you've asked me about how like running and having about better cardio has helped me. How has your weightlifting and just explosive nature of the weightlifting that you do, how's that helped you out in shooting matches?
It has helped me a ton because I am able to explosively go through a stage. I've had guys watch my body cams or my Insta 360 cams or watch me from afar and envy my explosiveness and my speed. It's something where I don't want to say it's natural talent because I worked hard to get to that, but I don't in my health journey, my fitness journey, but I don't really train as much as I used to. Like even today, like Phil and I, you and I went out to the range and we're working on draws and like I mean I was able to pretty consistently from 7 yards hit like a Alpha Charlie around like a 1 to 1.1 after some warm-ups. But I worked hard to get to that. So I'm just really quick. I'm explosive. I've got footwork. I know one guy has said, "Man, if I had his movement, I'd be a master, if not a grandmaster shooter." It's just I don't practice enough, so that one's on me.
Yeah,
So
movement is a tough one because it is something that for USPSA that you do have to traffic. You have to like practice as well, right? And a lot of people that do dry fire a lot, that's not necessarily part of their dry fire repertoire, and it's hard because you're stuck inside of a house, typically dry firing, right?
hmm
So you could go out and I always think of like what the football players do, and they'll do like they always look like they always look kind of goofy to me, like they're kind of like high stepping their legs around the field or whatever.
hmm
I gotta imagine something like that would probably help for USPSA as well, because there is a there's like a challenge with USPSA where you kind of get stuck into a position and then being able to immediately move out of it a lot faster, which I still think you do quite a good job at. And my guess is that probably is just the fact that you don't skip leg day. So
That is true.
you
I do
can
not.
immediately start exploding in that direction instead of having to like wait for your body to kind of like cycle in that way.
That's true. I will admit though, there was one stage a month or two or a couple months ago where it was that hot day where it was like one of the last stages where I ran so hard, but I tried to stop myself where I felt like my knee was about to give out because I was a
Ooh.
little too explosive there. So I was like, ugh, I'm not in my early 20s anymore. So I do remember that just now. I was like, oh man. But a part of it too is because I'm pretty sure I injured that knee playing sand volleyball last summer, of course, because I landed wrong. I was like, yeah, that was not a fun day. So, but it's definitely helped me a lot in the explosiveness side and movement. But once again, that's where I want to be a better balanced person in my fitness. And I know that will really help me balance out in my shooting ability as well.
Yeah, and I actually agree with you on that as well. And that's something that I've been talking with my wife about is just doing some light weightlifting.
Hmm.
Nothing major, but just something to like, especially with like upper body. I think a lot of the firearms that we shoot, like they're not overly heavy. And I don't think I have a problem with managing recoil.
You also have
Um,
massive hands.
I do also have massive hands, so that helps.
Your big
However,
meaty claws.
yeah, I think there is something to say with the work that you've done with like, you know, your arms and any kind of movement that when you can be so explosive out of like, you know, drawing out of the holster or like punching a firearm forward or whatever. I don't tend to get fatigued throughout the day with like my arms or anything, but I I know I could be faster at it, and I think having better arm strength would help with that for sure.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I know for me, like I have smaller hands. I joke that I have short sausage fingers, but so that's where funny enough, like I think of like people like you need to put your finger over here in the trigger. I'm like, I can't because my fingers literally aren't long enough for it. So I have to kind of adjust it a bit. But all that to say, I think of how with me because for so long I mean like I said I hit a 500 plus deadlift, so because of that like I have pretty decent grip strength, so I'm able to really just vice that gun in there and manage my recoil very well. So it's just really important. I will admit recently, especially on hot days, sweaty days, where I'll ask Paul, shout out to you, Paul, he lets me use some of his liquid chalk and that also helps a lot.
That's fair. I actually try to avoid using liquid chalk. I think it kind of gets all over the place and it's kind of gross.
No, I get it. I
But
mean, for
again,
me, I'm so
yeah,
used to using chalk because that I've used it
sure.
for over
That's
a
fair.
decade now.
Yeah.
Whether it's regular chalk or liquid chalk, I just stopped caring. That's me
Yeah,
personally, though, because I'm so used to it.
right. And again, I have the genetic gift of having massive hands just because of my stature. So I really don't have a hard time holding on to items throughout the day anyway. Like not like obviously like super heavy items would be a problem, but like shooting a pistol, like, and I'm even to the point now where I prefer heavier firearms, at least for pistols as a result,
Hmm.
um, just because I think it does help a little bit with mitigating the recoil. A lot of people obviously, you know, 2011s being very popular in the competitive scene. Those tend to be, you know, fairly heavy firearms, right? And some people even put in like, you know, tungsten guide rods, for example, just to
Are you
make the front of the
serious?
gun a little bit
Wow.
heavier. Yeah, there's like a whole
Well, I
a
mean,
whole
I
cottage
guess that's
industry on that.
also what people are using compensators for.
Sure.
Even using a light, so this way you're putting a little bit of weight up front. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I use a light. I like having one out there. It does add a little bit of weight, but I also don't like taking it on and off between my like running gun slash like 3 gun setup, multi gun setup where I have higher retention and
Hmm.
my USPSA stuff. I just the on and off constantly is kind of annoying.
It
So
is.
and then honestly, like even outside of just being like annoying, and it sounds maybe a little lazy taking on and off, but if you're constantly switching between the two, then your brain is like, well, what am I shooting today? Right. So it just kind of the consistency. Like today at the range, we were shooting, you shot your normal shadow systems that you shoot for literally everything.
Hmm.
I was shooting my carry gun, which is like a micro compact, yeah.
Yeah, it's a micro
And
compact. Hmm.
And I noticed the difference in shooting that, and then you left, and I had to function check a few firearms before this big competition we have coming up next weekend. Um, but
Oh yeah.
I shot my competition pistol, and I was like stacking rounds on top of each other, and I was like, oh, that's par for the course, but that's also the firearm I have a lot more rounds
You
behind
have
as a result
so
of
much.
it.
And also that's the same operating system you've used now for like a decade essentially.
Yeah, that well, yeah, that's about right. Well,
Pretty
I
darn
think
close to a decade.
yeah, it's been a while, and honestly, there's some, and I know you do this. There's some, and this is not a podcast about consistency with firearms, but there's something to say about having consistency with your competition setup. And there are people that like to switch back and forth between different platforms, and I think that's fine because it keeps variety is a spice of life, and it keeps some fun in there. But I think everybody kind of has their main squeeze that they like to go back to.
Mhm.
There is some advantages in the like 1911/2011 frame concept. The grip size is maybe a little bit bigger, but the functionality, the feel is going to be similar between the two. So you could go back between like single stack and double stack, 1911/2011. So there's, I guess maybe there's a little bit of an advantage there. I don't know. I don't shoot consistently either one of those, so I can't speak to that.
I'll be honest, I don't even know if I've ever even shot a 1911 or a 2011. I'm trying
I
to
think you've shot
remember.
my 1911 before.
Maybe? No, I have shot a 1911 before. I've never shot a 2011 though.
Yeah. You never shot Stevens 2011?
Nope.
Mm. I'm sure next time he has it out, he'll let you shoot it.
Oh
He's
yeah,
cool. He's Steven. If you listen to this, we love you.
you are awesome. Steven is
Um,
probably the most well-rounded shooter I know.
Also, like
It's
the
slightly annoying,
the most humble
actually.
shooter as well too.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
awesome. You're amazing.
yeah.
I wonder how much
Okay.
he dry fires.
Probably so much. He does. He's got a new kiddo, so I'll be curious. If
That's
next time
fair.
we talk to him, how much dry fire he's doing these days. But for him, fortunately, he's been doing it long enough. I'm sure it'll stick with him for a
He's
while.
probably like, "Yeah, do it with my kid on my
I,
chest."
I know he's got the baby on his left arm, and then he's
There
like
we go.
practicing. He's
Yeah, he's
practicing
practicing one arm
non like
shooting.
dominant one hand shooting, and they'll
That's
switch, and then you're
amazing.
non-dominant.
So,
That's like an IDPA thing too. They'll like have you hold a baby and like quote unquote
seriously,
hold a baby in one
that
hand.
baby's
So that
going deaf. Just saying,
I know, I know.
dude. So going back on track with fitness, do you have a fitness goal that you're currently working on right now?
So that is actually a bit of a personal struggle right now because I don't
Yeah, because
have
Badger's done.
Badgers done. I don't have another match scheduled. I have still been running since then. Intentionally, like the next, I think I took off like a few days after Badger just because of it wears you out. But I think I got
Oh,
right
for
back
sure.
into it that next week and then ran 3 5Ks that week
Good for
again.
you. Wow.
Um, but I am struggling finding a goal. I have other hobbies, and one of them I get together and do a convention every year. And I'm actually thinking about, and that would be for
Would you do a
June.
half marathon?
Maybe a 10K first.
That's fair. That's
Maybe
valid.
someday. Maybe someday I'll do that. But with that group, I'm actually thinking about setting up a 5K as like a side event. And then I'll use that to kind of get me through June, and then I'll try to do Badger again in late August.
Hmm.
That being said, it would be fun to do a 10K. I will probably find a run either early in the year next year, or maybe even later this year to do if there's like a winter something or another. I don't know. But all that to say, I'm not really there. I will probably look for other running guns. I'll try to convince some people to go do them with me. I was talking to a gentleman that I work with who is an ultra marathoner, and that
Holy
actually gave me
cow.
a bit of motivation. Um, I was talking to him on like Friday, the last Friday we were working together, and he was actually planning on running 50 miles on the
That's
Saturday coming up.
insane to me.
And I was like, "Do you do that straight?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "My gosh, like,
We
how long does
had
that take you?"
we had a family in the church, newer families, two single ladies who was in the process of moving out of their home, and I couldn't make it because I had an event I was leading, but one church member that I know, he offered to help one of the guys. He's had a truck and he went to go help them move. But I found out later on that he woke up early that morning, ran because he's training for a marathon. He ran the 26.2 miles, got showered, went and helped the family move for a couple hours, and
Gee.
then afterwards go tubing
I
and
mean,
what's it called? What's it called? What's it? Water skiing as well.
sure.
I'm like, what on earth? And
Well,
he's like
I think, yeah,
55.
yeah. I think it's just a habits thing, right? Like you spend enough time focusing on fitness, then it's just you're creating the ability to do that for long periods of time, I guess.
Hmm.
So if I ever get to that point, I'll be extremely happy. How about you, Tyler? Any fitness goals that you have that you're kind of, I don't always say this, but shooting for?
Yeah, I know, right? So for me, I am planning on doing a big trip with my girlfriend to visit some family, and we decided that we want to, well, one, be healthy for it. So we've just been, so now that things are kind of getting back to normal, schedules have been absolutely crazy. So after this, I mean, we've been doing as we can't stop for a bit. We're gonna get back to working out 4 times a week, three weightlifting, one cardio, and then maybe one like hiking outside. So 4 to 5 times a week of just, so for me, once again, it's going back to getting back to where I used to be health wise. I would love to, right now I'm around the 220 to 225. I'd love to get back down to around like 185. Actually,
Hmm.
185 is like my goal. I would love to get to that weight again. I haven't been 185 since like high school. Actually, yeah, my freshman year in college was when I was that weight.
Tyler,
So
I haven't been 185 since early high school.
mhm. I because I got really big into the whole fitness thing, was dieting, tracking my macros. I got down to I was probably 180, 185 when I started my fitness journey. Then I cut down to about 155. And then by the time I graduated college, I think I was around 190 to 200.
Yeah, I the lowest I think I was at my current height was like 215.
Hmm.
And that was in college. I was painting houses at the time, so I was just up and down ladders all
Oh,
day.
nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it was like super thin. I think I was down to like a 32-inch waist. It was crazy.
Nice. Holy cow.
Yeah, for my height, it was pretty
Yeah, no
thin.
kidding. How'd you find pants?
Dude, it was funny because my inseam was like wait, I always get it wrong. Like with your waist and your inseam. My inseam was which is your length of the pant, right?
Yep. Hmm. Correct.
That was actually it was longer than my waist.
That's
So
so
I
funny.
had like a 36 inseam and a 32 waist. It was really fun.
That's so funny. I don't even now because I've short legs, which is great for fitness, bad for pretty much everything else. But I am like right now I'm like a 34 30. Technically I'm like a 34 28. But you know how hard it is to find a 28 anything
Yeah, that's fair.
inseam? It's so hard, dude.
It's just as hard as trying to find a 36 inseam.
That's fair. I will give that to you. So
Yeah.
but either way, so all that to say, fitness is really important for everything all around across the board, whether it's firearms, competitions, or even just life. I think it's really for me, I think you and I agreed like I just want to live long. I want to be healthy. But at the same time, I don't want to be so strict with my life that I'm gonna be like Tom Brady and my dessert is avocado ice cream. I don't. Granted, also, I'm not at that level in life where I've professional chefs making me that, and that's literally my livelihood. So I guess there is that aspect of it all. But I want to be able to enjoy my life as well and be able to go get all you can eat sushi here and there. So,
Yeah, I think that's a good comment is obviously we're talking a lot about fitness. It's good to have balance in your
oh,
life.
100%.
Because again, creating habits is it's difficult to do. And then when you feel like you are uh when it's a mental stress for you to constantly be focusing on that stuff. Yes, it may be like an initial thing, but if you hate yourself that all the time because of the way the things you're eating and the way you're working out,
Mhm.
it's the habits are never going to last.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So I think it's good to have a balance. And I something I need to work on though is my diet, and I think that's actually going to be a focus here coming up, especially as we go into the hibernation months, to try to
Mhm.
figure out. more work around that, and I think then I can probably hit some weight goals that I want to get to, because I think my wife and I are trying to get to go to somewhere warm in February, and it would be nice just to like wear a
Yeah.
bathing suit and that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
um, yeah, no,
And
again, it's important to continue to work on your fitness journey, right? I
yeah.
don't think there's ever you ever get there, right?
No. Because you guys don't have a treadmill, correct?
We don't have a treadmill, which I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do for this winter.
Lunch. I mean, what are your thoughts of getting like a cheap like gym membership at like Planet Fitness or Crunch Fitness or something for like $20 a month?
I The thought of like going out somewhere in the middle of the winter in like shorts and like a short sleeve shirt. I've done it before, and I don't want to. We'll
That's fair.
probably settle on a treadmill at some point. I just got to figure out where to put it.
Yeah, I know, because I was thinking about your home setup. Because I mean, even for me, I would love to have a Actually, you know what? I would love to have a stair climber. I would love to have a stair climber. I just have no idea
Yeah,
how I could get that to my basement. Honestly, it would be impossible to get to my basement. A treadmill would be pushing it to get to my basement. So, and if I ever move out of this place and I have one down there, it is staying there. It is not leaving. They can have it. So, but yeah, I've contemplated getting a membership somewhere just for cheap, so this way I could utilize cardio machines, or even just because for me I have a home gym, but it's all free weights. It would be nice to get the change here and there, the variety, I guess, because I do miss some of the machines. But either way, I'm thinking about it. I don't know yet.
yeah. Even looking at these mechanical or like I guess that's the wrong term. These like self propelled like treadmills. So maybe I'll do that for
Oh
Christmas
yeah. Mhm.
for my wife and I. It's not a bad idea. Be a good investment and something to do and something we could put down in our den potentially and just like put right in front
Mhm.
of the TV, watch a TV show, get that out of your system while you're walking.
Well, it's
So
habit stacking too. That's another
right.
thing. Or like you're adding something, some pleasure to it. I
Yeah.
know from me, I personally have not read Atomic Habits, but I do know James Clear talks about it in his book of how if you struggle with going to the gym, one thing you can do is tell yourself, I will get changed and I will drive to the gym parking lot for 15 minutes. And if you're in your car, and 9 times out of 10, you're just going to go, no, I'm here, I'm just going to go work out. But if not, just go home. And that's okay. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to work out anyway. Or even like just getting dressed for it. So stuff like that, you're kind of just stacking it from there, making it easier, and you're creating those systems and processes in place.
No, this is a great topic to end on, Tyler. I think like
Hmm.
how to create those habits and like what first steps are for individuals. To your point, like when I like the night before I go to bed, I know it's a running day the next day. And
Hmm.
I like either it's been a long day that day, or going to bed late, and I'm like, I just don't want to get up early.
Hmm.
Um, I will lay out my clothes
Yep.
and I'll have them out, and then I will go and I actually when I run, I get up earlier, obviously, because you know I got to get
Hmm.
it done before I get to work.
Yep.
I will change the clock on my phone, um, just like which is what I use my alarm to wake me up like that much time earlier than I need to before work. And it's just those
Hmm.
little tiny things where it's like your current self is preparing for your future self, right? So
Exactly.
I find that that for me really helps. I do things too, like I consistently put my gym or my running clothes are always consistently in the same spot,
That's
so I know where to
smart.
find them. Even if I forget to set them out, they're always in the same location. Investing in like equipment that you really like,
Hmm.
and making that like making things more comfortable and enjoyable for you. So whether it's, you know, some people poo poo wearing AirPods while you're running. It depends on what you're able to run, like how safe your neighborhood is, if you have a trail, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
But like get those AirPods and say, I'm going to listen to podcasts or I'm going to listen to music while I'm running. And this is going to
Hmm.
be a pleasure for me to do this.
Exactly.
Yep. You know, getting a pair of nice shoes, you know, and like
Hmm.
making those investments instead of just relying on like older equipment that you may have.
Yes.
Any other advice, Tyler, for somebody who is trying to create those habits and kind of get started in their own fitness journey?
So for me, what I've done recently, it's one, well, figuring out when is the best time for you to exercise and work out. In the past, I used to. be a night workout guy. I could work out like 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning, no problem. Which is also why at the time I wanted a 24/7 fitness gym that I could go to. I've learned now that I'm actually better in the morning. So I actually prefer working out in the morning, but waking up early is kind of hard for me. So recently, what I've done is, as some people know, I'm a plant guy. I have like 30 house plants. So I've recently put plants in my room and they're on a Wi Fi timer. So those lights, because Jeff Nipper talks about this, how if you want, in order to help you wake up, like get some sunlight, so step outside, so I automatically have my grow lights turn on at if I'm working out, or I just have it turn on earlier, so like 6 in the morning, just to wake me up. And also I have what's called a brick for my phone, so I'm not on social media late at night. And in order for me to unbrick it, I have to go downstairs to my gym and unbrick my phone. So now I'm like,
Smart.
I'm already down here, so I'm
Yeah.
up because these stinking lights woke me up. I'm already in my basement. Fine, I'll just start working out already. So now I've kind of created like a pathway for me. Is that a little extreme? Yeah, probably. But that's just what I've learned works. So right now, I haven't been doing that recently, ever since I was doing the whole babysitting about a week ago. And life honestly has been absolutely crazy. So now, starting next week, I'll kind of get back into that routine again. So is that more extreme? Yeah. So so to answer your question of getting started is just fine. Just get started, find a gym, find a buddy, go on YouTube. There's so many great resources out there of people you can watch and learn. Steve Cook, Jeff Nippard, those are just great guys that I personally recommend that I still listen and follow to this day, who have really been helping me get to where I am today. Eat healthy, get some sun, drink. I mean, even half a gallon of water. How about that? Drink half a gallon of water a day and then kind of just figure out what works for you, but really drink electrolytes. So I guess that's kind of my fitness advice.
So with that, anything else you wanted to add on this topic?
That's all I've got. So what's your dad
What you think?
advice? I was waiting for you to do it, man.
Yeah, I know. But I wanted to make sure you didn't have anything else to add, to the conversation. For those of you who have listened in the past, it's kind of been a goal of us to ask the other person for life advice first.
A goal. I win like 9 times out of 10.
That's fair. But 9 times out of 10, you're still trying to figure what yours is.
That is
So
very fair.
I actually have two for today.
Wow.
I know. And technically I had like four, but I was like, I gotta cut it back to two.
That's so funny. All right. So what's your two?
So the first one and is get fit or die.
Yep.
And I know we've had a whole episode about this, and this is something that Grantham said, and his social life decisions aside, I don't actually even follow him or anything.
Dude, I don't even know
Um,
what's going on with the guy anymore.
I,
I unfollowed him a long time ago.
yep. So, but one of the good points he made, which is not a lie, is get fit or die.
Yep.
So, uh, shooting competition aside, because obviously you're gonna improve your ability, your longevity to shoot and stuff, and you actually, honestly, without some basic level of fitness, there are matches you just can't do.
Yes.
Right. So get fit or die, which also means, get fit and go do fun stuff. Like do a run and gun. If there are people that walk running guns and good on them, but they at least have a level of fitness where they can carry all their equipment with them. But if you want to be successful in that, you have to get fit. I think a lot too about like in the event of some crazy scenario going, natural disaster, whatever it may be, um, reliance on and there are some people just can't get around this, right? But reliance on certain things to keep you alive is going to be tough, right? So if you're able
Hmm.
to focus on being in good shape, you're probably going to have a little bit more longevity. You're going to be able to react better in a stressful situation. You're going to be able to function for a longer period of time, right? So I think that's a pretty big deal. All right, Tyler, I have to do my first one. Now it's your turn, and then I'll wrap on that. My next one.
Yeah, so one thing that I may have talked about this in the past, but for me, I am a natural or rather a conditioned people pleaser. So it's really so when it comes to that, I really struggle when it comes to conflict. But in life, don't fear the conflict. And because instead you might even regret it. So I might even actually I'm going to slightly shift. to where one thing that Dr. Deloney, I've been saying this a lot recently, I've been quoting him, is choose guilt over resentment. There are times when you're gonna be stuck between two hard places. You're better off just choosing guilt, speaking your mind, or saying no, feeling guilty about that, versus resenting the other
Mm,
person
mhm.
because you chose to people please, because you chose not to speak your mind, because you were afraid of the conflict. So choose guilt over resentment.
I like that. That's a good point, and I think for people that are people pleasers, and I definitely I think I am one of those as well too. Actually, I know I am. I don't like like thinking about somebody doesn't like me is a big struggle in my life, and that's something I've worked
Mhm,
with in my 40s specifically to get over.
mhm, mhm.
And realizing that people are never going to be happy with you.
Well,
So
I like you, Phil.
I like you too, Tyler.
That's awesome.
My other life advice, and the reason why I have two of them because they do relate to this specific episode regarding fitness and firearms. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but listen to your body
Oh yeah.
especially if you are like when you're younger, you can get away with a lot more. Your body is a little bit more resilient, right? The injuries don't tend to last long or impact you. Um, but again, we talked a lot about fitness journey. If you do hurt yourself during like fitness or something doesn't feel right, stop immediately, right? And don't keep pushing because you're going to make it worse. Number one.
Mhm,
Number two, if you do injure yourself, it's not a setback. It's just a pause, right?
mhm,
And listen to your body and don't be like I'm going to push through and I'm going to make this happen because you're going to make it worse. And then
mhm.
or if you're going to be like working through that injury, you're going to come to resent working out, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yep, take a break, take a pause, let it reset. And sometimes like maybe it's just your body telling you like hey, I could use a week off,
Yeah. Oh
right? Or
yeah.
a few days or whatever. I actually during my running everything's a journey, right? Bunch of millennials over here. During this running journey, I really jacked up my calf because
Oh, that's right.
I listened and then I stopped, but it was too late and the damage had already been done. I actually stopped running. I skipped a few runs. I actually even I didn't even walk a whole ton on it, trying to just let it recover. Worked back by running a little or walking a little bit on it, and then ran again. Still didn't feel right. Stopped
Mhm.
immediately, and then I think it was a couple weeks, and eventually it did bounce back. And honestly, as soon as it was ready, I was back out running again,
That's
just like I was
awesome.
before. And then a lot of it too is again listening to your body and making sure that you're paying attention. So I actually corrected my stride as a result of it.
Mhm.
And I have less issues now. And if I start feeling tightness, I'm like, oh, not running right. So I'll correct my stride a bit and resolve the issue. So again, listen to your body and don't try to destroy yourself.
Love it.
You want to close us out here, Tyler?
For sure. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another awesome episode of Acceptable Accuracy with Phil and Tyler. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. You can reach out to us on podcast at acceptableaccuracy.com. Of course, remember to like our Facebook, our Instagram, because our social media manager needs to start posting more. Hint, hint, that's me. So, cough, cough. So, but thank you so much for listening. Remember, feel free to email us, ask us any questions. We would love to have another Q&A episode one of these days because I do know that was a big hit for our listeners. You guys rock. Thank you so much, and we will see you in our next episode.
Goodbye.